use it as a talking point on social media. It drives me nuts. Okay, so we just figured out that prosecutors have been lying about evidence for God knows how long, so let's see what this develops. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. State crimes require drastic measures. It's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 was just in the name for the Joe Dark killings. And everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, what happened to you? It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind a piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. Didn't see that one coming. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner and went together once she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Joe Dark. It seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. James Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage. But before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled me. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out, suddenly. A bolt of lighting flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. Permanent picture? I remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. So you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why Lana, she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. You couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, it's all my fault. I could have just testified properly and none of this would have happened. It's true, even though I have known it. Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred? Damn, Phoenix gonna make a girl you live for trauma? Holy shit. Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Mr. Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that incident. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago. You must have been 14. It's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimony, and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. There's still something about that crime. There's something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at the time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, he was being chased by a prosecutor? Well, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But why did he run all the way to your over to your sister's office? The detective office is in the questioning room right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? I better have another talk with her. Yeah, she is. Lana. Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul, so why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, and tell me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago, and how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Sup? We're solving mysteries and crimes. Mystery crimes. A lot of revelations were covered in the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, but I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At the trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. But all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said about you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why don't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before. It's true, I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant? He was deputy chief of police back then, but he's still with the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. I really idolized her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes. You could use that experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, I became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. 2 years, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes, Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. We even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives in the force. Detective Goodman, whose case was Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was a serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person you happened to see in the crime was me. Now you tell us. Him and Gant and Neil Marshall were once questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stage and Dark was suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down and fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her after all. Her sister must have gone. Can't blame her after all. Her sister must have gone through. It's drama music. Hi, Bobu. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident? That's right. Quite a coincidence. I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in an incident. Just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with this closing of the case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case might not be over yet. Everyone was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant mentioned. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself, the chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office and decide the final SL9 murder. Honestly, like, that's a good reason to become a cowboy, personally. But, you know, it varies, I guess, from person to person. February 24th, Police Station, Criminal Affairs Department. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things seem kind of quiet around here today. You're right. The chief detective seems the same, though. Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to? Right. We can come back here later. Alright, let me move, I guess, here. Howdy, Bambino. Oh, Mr. Marshall. I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Hey, sir, you never know what life will lead you, eh, Bambino? I should have known my life had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. A little voluntary appearance, but we all know it will come back. Sorry, but you can't go into the evidence today, Parker. Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why did prospectors head west? If there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall. Do you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All of it was also. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, a murder weapon. Murder weapon? You mean the switchblade knife with a broken tip? That was Joe Dark's alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. Question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match for the victim's sustained. What does that mean? It means there was a good chance this knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. The facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left behind scars on all of us. Scars the SL9 has been left behind. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I just made detective and went down. It was our first case together. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the king of prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place. That wasn't the same day as... That's right. It was the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning. By nightfall, there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years had gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in the investigation, save one, was taken care of. The star was fired and now is demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him, too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? What are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambino. I mean, Damon Gantz and Lana Sky. The investigation lead Damon Gantz and second man Lana Sky. It was the person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah. Damon Gantz, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective. Now that you mention it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambino, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Secret. It all started 2 years ago. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. It's one thing I found out for sure in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict. But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gantz. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't be a patrolman after today. Too bad I won't be around to work with you. You can become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambino. There he goes. I want to see if I can finally just... Alright, let's try that again. Where did it go? Let me spray it! Ah! Alright. Can I even use this? No? Damn it. Oh well. Moving on, I guess. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. So you know we're busy solving crimes. If you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Well, he actually talked to us. The chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statements to the media in tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. Oh, she shows up later. She definitely shows up later. She's just kind of... This is where she gets introduced in, I suppose. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gantz's office. Use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us just to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now, Mr. Detective Gumshoe gives his unique charm. What are we waiting for? Let's head to the chief's office. I don't know about the other guys, but I know that Emma is definitely canon. She's one of the detectives. She's only something to himself. That's it. The villain used a time machine. Very clever indeed. That would explain the alibi. The future might not be so far away after all. He's not writing a report. He's writing a novel. Anyway, let's go snoop. What the hell? Why has he got a big dumb organ in his room? Hello? Whoa, where am I? In the chief's office. At least that's what it said on the door. Check out that type organ. That's real, isn't it? Yeah, he used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. He used to call me Little Miss Bach. I thought it was genius until it's... My bad. God, it does look like Ganondorf's office. I never could remember where C was. Oh, it's Chief Gantz. Hello. Oh, it's you two. Chief Gantz. That paper was really in his desk. So, Righto, have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy. I appreciate that. But my hands full too, with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statements? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall over there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. This is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. To get to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it, though. Oh, I can see two big things. One, the sword is missing. Two, that's the same, what's it called, we have in our inventory, the same vase. Vase, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh, this office. It was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, I'd like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting. Looks like we aren't welcome. Seems that case isn't over yet. Seems that case isn't over with yet. After. What do you mean? Chief can't deny a request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Let's just go back inside. Hey, pal. That the gumshoe? Aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, I'm serving everyone coffee. The gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have you ever seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why? Why do you ask? You're under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. The falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has a whole world after his blood. Yikes. Excuse me, why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Amanda Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around on Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor has kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now, with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies. Hey Dick, keep up the good work! Yes, sir! Let's go for lunch again sometime, my treat! Yes, sir! You have to get back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir! You don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Yeah, it's... He's a detective. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Actually, I took a look at the file earlier when the cop was seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, you found out anything? Only evidence Stark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? When he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl. Me. Seems like the gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when we left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Oh, let's see. I think it has something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. We should show him the murder weapon. It might jog his memory. Let me, do that, I guess. How about this? Hey, isn't that... There's a tag attached with the label SL9 still. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you were speaking of. What are you doing with that? Ever since that case was closed, the knifeman was locked away in a locker. When the day Detective Goodman was murdered, he suddenly disappeared from the locker and was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it! Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. What was it, Detective? Quick, before we forget again! Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. Businessman? He made him take the serial killer. One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. His car? So, it was an accident? An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed a lady who saw the second crime. A kid walked by just then, so he killed him too. Then, when he was burying the bodies, a jogger came upon the scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. He was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in. Yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, aka Emma. This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store we bought it at. Plus, it had fingerprints on it too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well anyway, take a guess where the broken tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet, down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant. It's not money, but it does concern the Chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The Chief's out now, and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What? Really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh. Sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? Detective Goodman? That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Oh. In other words, Gumshoe's our only chance of getting in that office. If there's something you can show him that would change his mind. Listen, the way we handle evidence has to be very important, okay? It has to be succinct, okay? If we miss important evidence by not talking, we lose out on important matters. February 24th, prosecutor's office, underground parking lot. No one's here today, not even Miss Starr. Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. It must be where the detectives are. It was proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in their case. But instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. There he is! It looks like he's writing something. What are you doing here? I sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I've had to live the past few years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me? Sure, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I do can erase that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, the evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, you begin to lose everything. The police department's error is my error. My responsibility is the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same no matter what excuses I might have. Mr. Edgeworth, I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep up this kind of emotion bottled up. Are you up for your trial tomorrow? First last year's trial, and now this one. Seems all you do is worry about me. Damn, gay rights. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial. Tomorrow's the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. But that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists? That is odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. It's a framed code. It's a framed code. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I know what I had to do. I think he wears that one in later games. He wears that code, I think, in more recent games, I believe. I'll look up his name on Google. I think he wore it like when he first started, actually, is what I'm trying to remember. Yeah, he wore it when it's this first quote from when he first started in Miles' Edwards investigations. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect's guilty. That is what was really going on, the only thing going on in my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture? Something seems strange about it. Oh. Listen, it's his first code. He's sentimental. He's gay. Give him a break. Can you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered? You were participating in a ceremony at the station, right? I never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this? They're receiving awards, fans had to skip out on the ceremony. I finished up the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. Finished up the office? Yes, just odds and ends, clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Gann asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to? That's right. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gann's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, this name bothers me. Yes? The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding, it's a little different than yours. Yes, you're right. I remember now. Remember what? That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design. A story? Sounds interesting. Do you mind telling it to us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard this story? Me? Oh, sure. Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it though, for Emma's sake. Very well. What if you can see through him? Long ago in the King of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day, he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Objection! Supposed to contradict each other. Accepted. But then again, you've heard the story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the very description of the items is better than both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Oh, I see. So the chipped shield and broken knife symbolize... Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words, but it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this. Wow. Thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the ward abolished. Chief Gant. Time to snoop. I wonder who was writing before. Come on, Mr. Wright. Let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right there. Let's distract him. I'll check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is that the gumshoe at the window there? Oh no! He's falling to the ground! Hold on. First let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet. Didn't even look. What? Letter of... If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says, Letter of Resignation. Resignation? You don't mean... I'm tired, right? I feel as if something inside me has died. Mr. Edgeworth, none of it is your fault. I know the path I've walked. You don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else should forgive me either. Uh-oh. I think he's serious. Mr. Wright, please, you have to do something. It's a letter of resignation. I wonder if I can use it for anything. I think there's a reason behind it beyond symbolism, because we know that someone was killed with a chipped blade. Ergo, what does that tell us? That tells us there's something a little bit fishy about the fact that it suddenly went out of, out of use 2 years ago. Excuse me. Would either of you care for a quarter-pound of roast beef? And a star, instead of lunches. You're feeling out of curious sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk. Ma'am, I will buy all the lunches you have currently if you never make that analogy ever again. Still, I never thought you'd be goaded with that case from 2 years ago. When this trial was involving misalignment. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence from that case was due for transferal. This can't all be attributed to mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? Do you know that little scene I happened to witness? The instant Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. The star's hatred to Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. Joe Dark. That's a name I'll not soon forget. You chilled him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was back then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though, must have been going through hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her, Lana Skye, his sister? The best of the best were put on that SL9 case. Of course, they were led by that legendary duo. Lana and Chief Gant. A legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out. You mean the forging of the evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. It still was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while other items were kept secret. You don't have any proof. You don't prove anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties. Most not even so much as an explanation. Then Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used? Lana Sky. Gant led the investigation with Lana second in command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism? By that I mean his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. Incredible evidence? You mean... Oh yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him though. I take it she's talking about forged evidence. Back then everyone looked up to him. All the detectives wanted to be like him. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Mr. Marshall. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would ever have recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr. That's why. I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn out so cold after that? Damn. This really just sounds like a horrible breakup between those two. Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief. That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, the position of Chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office. What? You mean, that's why Lana was transferred? If he can control the chief prosecutor, he can control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know. One thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must be a reason for her to change. At last. Finally getting to the bottom of this ugly. Finally close getting to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Starr. You listen to me, Ricky. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. Oh, you're back. You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. I'm turning into a regular DJ. You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means desk jockey. Oh, that DJ. Gotta admire your consistency, but my answer's still no. I'm not letting him in the chief's office, period. It'll be my neck on the line. But obviously, the last crime scene in the SL9s, I have to take a look at it. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. What's this crumpled up piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious! Is he ever not serious? I can't believe they've pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice, too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence, but we just betrayed him. Detective. Hello. I'm trying to do it and it's hard, I forget, alright? That's it. I made up my mind. But, here, take my ID card. You can't do that if someone found out. They wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. There's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? So at least let me do this. For Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Alright, detective. Thank you. Valid. Alright. Back to snooping in here. Here goes, Mr. Wright. We're in. If no one finds us now, I think Gumshoe's a goner. If that happens, I'm counting on you two to bail me out. Yeah! Yeah! And another slap on the face. Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Ah! Detective Gumshoe! What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking. I was just worrying something might go wrong. So I came too. You're here. Then what's the point of giving us your ID card? And these... Gumshoe's ID crushed, rendered unusable in pocket. Hey, don't do that to my card! Are you surprised? I hardly ever get a chance to come in here. So I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now. You really do want to get fired, don't you? Not if we're lucky. Oh, come on. Let's see what we can find out. I've got a bad feeling about this. Look at this picture again. It was taken on that day 2 years ago. The day Joe Dark ran under questioning and tried to kill Emma. After receiving his award trophy, Mr. Marshall took a picture with him. Then went along with Chief Gant to question Dark. But he never knew he'd be dead just a few hours later. Gee, you think? So is Lana's desk. It sure is tidy. Lana's always been a meticulous cleaner. There's not even any dust on it. It's just someone's still keeping it clean. Does Lana ever come back here? No. Chief Gant must still keep it clean in memory of their partnership. They were the stuff legends were made of. Does he keep it in memory of the crime, or memory of... Do you keep it in memory of her, or memory of the crime? It's a safe, isn't it? Safe. That word is right with me. Okay, if you say so. Looks like a code needs to be entered in this pen when open. A 7-digit number. I think I just might know what it is. Let's not open it yet. I'm not sure what will happen if I enter the wrong code. Better wait until I find something more definite. 7-digit number. You see one of those somewhere? How about we try entering my birthday? Gumshoes, does Gant have a pair we can talk to? I doubt it. This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons? Sure is, pal. Chief doesn't care for imitations. First the pipework and now this armor. You know how many taxpayer dollars would have gone into this room? What? You are paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes. I don't have any taxes to pay. Shh. Hear what you say. Who knows? Chief may be hiding in his armor as we speak. I don't think he'd fit in there. Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out. Cut it out. You guys don't know how scary that guy can be. Size of Chief Gant's desk. We were here earlier. Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. But that paper was reading his desk. What was he reading? This looks like a list of evidence. A list of evidence. In most cases, the list runs twice as long as this, though. Hey, look at the case name. Huh? SL9 incident. I was wondering what this was. I wonder what this is doing here. Hold on, detective. What did you just say? I said, I wonder what... No, about evidence lists. Normally they're twice as long? That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. I have a size list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. What would the other half of this list... What would the other half of the list be doing here? I knew it. The chief was hiding something about that case. It would appear so. Chief's organ sure is a sight to behold. Occasionally we hear him playing it from the Criminal Affairs Department. It's on the 2nd floor, this is the 15th floor of an entirely different building. The detective screws up when Chief calls into his office and makes him listen to the organ for hours. What's so bad about that? He's excused the soul. After that, the detective can't hear anything created from the dream there he is. It's an incident of punishment, literally. But aren't the Chief's ears affected? He never listens to anyone anyway. That's beside the point. I think I know the number we need to put in here. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. You want to know my birth date? It's... I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. Input code. What a stupid number to lock a safe with. Bingo. What number did you enter? Whose birthday was that, pal? 777777777. The final ID card on that record. What? The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. You mean 777777777? That ID number? I think you're 17 shy this time. There's only one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number. Say, okay to look inside. Any money in there? How much do you have stashed away? Look, it's a shot from a broken cup. And someone looks familiar. I've never seen this before. There's something else in there, too. What's this? Looks like a piece of leather cloth. This is a handprint, isn't it? Hey, this is a ring I should like that one. Any achievement of the design? I don't think so. Oh, well, it was just a thought. Is that it? Is that all that was in the safe? Apparently so. It's empty now. A piece of cloth with a handprint on it, and a broken shawl from a cup. They look like pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with the case, I'm afraid I can't just let you take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here. Great. Now I have to prove the relevancy to get them. How are these two items related to the says on the outside? Come on! There's gotta be something we can show, Detective. Yeah, but, you know, this is a Phoenix Wright game. Where the rules are made, where the plot's made up and the rules don't matter. Chief Gumshoe, can you take another look at this jar? I remember when the three of us put that back together. Ah, those were the days. It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case? That's right. One of the straws in the SL9 is in the stick, though. Doesn't this ring any bells, you know, that fragment we just found? You mean this one? That was in the safe? Yes, that one. That was in the safe. Not to mention, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Here, let me take that shard. Here, let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at this. Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do. Mr. Wright, here's some glue. I can piece this back together again. It will prove Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. There we go. There. It fits like a charm. That, of course, means Chief Gant willingly and knowingly had a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9. But... Hey guys, get a load of this! What is it? This piece is just attached. It's different from the others. Reddish line on it. Reddish line. That's blood. I don't get it. How would Chief Gant hide this in his safe? Other piece of evidence. How am I gonna discover what that means? The gumshoe. I'd like to have a look at this. Hey, I know what that is. So, you want to take some fingerprints? That's a great idea, Detective. Alright, go to town. Sheesh. What are you doing? Why are you sticking out your hand like that? Go ahead, take my fingerprints. It's not your fingerprints you want to take. Huh? Come on, this isn't the time for jokes. I'm talking about that cloth we found in the safe. Oh! I knew that. The one with the pan print on it, right? Sheesh, where's your sense of humor? No, don't worry about it, it's fine. Okay, Mr. Red, let's check. Okay, Mr. Red, let's check for prints. Look at the powder on the cloth. Then once they've been absorbed into the prints, throw the rest away. What are you, my mom? I don't be told a billion times. Let's get this over with. Oh god. That happened so fast, Jesus Christ. This is better than Danganronpa Blood, which is pink. Alright, let's do it right this time. Give him a best shot. What kind of result won't be any good for matching prints, will it? It doesn't look like we'll get a clear result from this print. Let's try a different finger then. Get a lot more on the bottom. There we go. So it's not Gans. It's not Marshall's. It's not Gumshoes. Huh. No, how can this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing here? Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints were they? Huh? Oh, it seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to be a match. Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's prints. Psst. Hey, you, over here. What's going on here? What are that kid's prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's keep this information from Emma for now. Here. Maybe we should hold on to this. Emma pulls out a gun. Yeah. A disc on the side of the room. Was that your sister's? Yes. That's why I was waiting for Lana. On that day 2 years ago. Shouldn't be using it now? No, sir. This is entirely Chief Gant's office now. I'm just picking different accents now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. He uses it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time. Ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk? No one except Chief Gant, and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning. Still, 2 years have passed the incident. You can't possibly bring it to his reading. I would love for Lana to want a gun in there, that'd be sick. Ask you something? Sure. You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of the SL9 crime scenes. I mean, that's the only reason we're coming here, isn't it? Why do you ask? You don't think... Nah. You wouldn't be... Nah. No, there's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Okay, now then, let's get around a bit. Hey, hold on! Not so fast, buddy! Huh? What is it? If someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you, pal. You don't just let it go at that. Sorry, this guy's starting to get on my nerves. So what's bothering you? But you don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you? What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this. I mean, he's a cop. Of course he's suspicious. Duh. You think a police chief isn't suspicious? What do I think of him? That's as best I don't want to divulge my feelings yet. There you go, ignore me again. Well, was there any help? Of course. Thanks to your ID card, you're able to get some hard at first. Well, that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he wouldn't have been useless. He would have been useless. It's not right, you in the coat. Chief Gant! I didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in science. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run right into a pole. Just then I thought of a certain detective. Do you mean me, sir?
Now then, I'm afraid I'm gonna ask you all to leave. Yes, sir. Sorry. Oh, you wanna go? Yes, sir. Drop off your ID on the way out. You don't need it. But, sir... Now get out. Yes, sir. You're on our way too, then. Wait, you the one without the spiky hair. Don't go. Me, sir? I'd like a word with you. But, sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet. You with the spiky hair, you're free to go. Mr. Wright! Look, pal, if I told you once, I told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you? I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired. Yeah, but I knew it'd be like this. I never would have said it. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gann was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. Why has she kept so eerily silent about it all this time? Anyway, listening to me? I'm gonna try to smooth things over the Chief again. Later, pal. It's not his fault, he's just kind of dumb. That's about it from Emma. The police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'd be busy with the rest of the day. He's just kind of dumb. Give him a break. See, the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use thinking about it. Now it's the final day in court. I'm committed to doing everything I can to defend you. I've already told you all I can. You've told me over these past couple of days. There's absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I've finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. You did a good job, didn't you? I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth? Once you're convinced of something, you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term you use, I think. As much as they can tell me the rest of the story. I have to admit I was a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's what hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to do the truth. It's that you're incapable of doing a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. A certain individual. Do you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No. I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, who may I ask is this person? The one I am supposedly so frightened of. What is this person's name? Take that! Wellness guy? Mr. Wright, you are addressing the chief prosecutor. Do not forget your place. My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think about? We were partners until 2 years ago. I respected him as a detective, assuming he is respectful and tell me something. How do you try to hide his crime? His crime. Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of specifically hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offenses. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered the evidence was... I had access to that second command of that investigation. Yes, you, but also one other. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case. Take that! How about this? I just found this in a safe in the Chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? They're pieces of evidence against the lines. The person concealing evidence was not only Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. It's as you surmised. One second. I cannot disobey the Chief's orders, if it means being found guilty for murder. Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate in the murder of Detective Goodman. Or perhaps I should say, follow orders. Yes, Mr. Wright, cooperate. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day. I need to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find him inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. Just as I suspected, despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. Thank you. Sorry. I was trying to take the body of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock is broken, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. Murder weapon? You mean Edward's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. The knife from the accident. Oh, yeah, you can see it right there! Serial killer Joe Dark's knife. I couldn't just leave that knife in him. So I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. That would be Edgeworth's knife? That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. And that is the reason for the bandage in your right hand? Yes. It seems that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. Miss Starr, huh? Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so bad? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't want it to ever be opened again. My intent was to prevent that by whatever means possible. So, you hid Dark's knife? The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in the Joe Dark case. Before he got out, the reporters would have a field day with that. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it. And Edward was exhausted by it. Right. Then I called my sister to tell her what happened and asked her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma? I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma was so confident about Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling one of them that day. A bad feeling? The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Marshall. I don't have to call him. A lead investigator for the SMI incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be contained. I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. Or at least I thought I could trust at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off with an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean... Not wanting to chase the guy, he decided to take things in his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. Always thought mid, yeah, he always stole an ID card. But it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break the evidence room. All loose ends were being tied up after my phone call, and any doubts he had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room? I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murder. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago. Alright, let's solve some crimes. So, on Twitter today, I had kind of a fun experience. Because, as it turns out, they're working on a drug, to, help with COVID-19, right? And, of course, it's being sold for, 4 figures. Jesus Christ, like... I know I shouldn't be surprised, but it's so disgusting, you know? It's vile. Just make a cure and give it to people. People are dying, you capitalist, stupid bastards. Stop making profit at other people's expense. This is the defendant lobby, alright? There's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? Almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth! Knowing you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 7777777 number, ID number, that is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's feeling it. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID. If that number does belong to the suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True. Not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes later, the Chief Prosecutor Scout will be found guilty. She didn't do it! I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here to hear what you have to say. This is the first time I've ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something. The only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth. Everything goes back to the SL9. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. You don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court. This is it. If I'm ever gonna find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal. Chief Gant. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, G, been back to school yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my own work. Huh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, what exactly is this proposal of yours? God, I hate that he does that. Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. What's this all about, defendant? I just need to make one simple request and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot in the prosecutor's office. No, Lana! Objection! You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana! Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. The request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant... Objection! One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand it's a difficult time for you. But why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal? Not everyone operates as you do. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh, to whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Scott. The exposure of the truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well. The court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark Killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerning the murder of Detective Goodman. As an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. You sure gave it fast. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. Looks like he has swirly eyes, but it's just very weirdly drawn pupils. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. It's a good thing we weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark, and just then, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on, and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out? Wait a minute. If it wasn't pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't be able to see anything, right? Right, but just then, lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash an unforgettable image of a scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw. Detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Bruce Goodman. The victim. So you spoke to Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes. That's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. Picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? Picture the witness true. I believe it has a very important meaning. Objection! But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold! This is the evidence list from the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it... Ah! What's this? Yes, what is that? Hey! That's it! That's the picture I drew! Indeed. 2 men appear to be wrestling. Objection! What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge would have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? Hold on. Apparently I have a gift. Oh, god damn it. God damn it. Finally, now I can sacrifice the stream for more time on the clock. Jesus Christ. Alright, I have to bother someone later. Don't worry about it. That's a behind the scenes either where I got a game. Are you in the chat now, PP, so I can give you a face full of words? Yeah, you are. I see you. I see you. God damn it. I'm just trying to chill and run a stream and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna give them a game on stream. God damn it. Can't have nothing in Detroit. It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half the evidence in the case ever reached you. What? What? Order! Order! But Miss Sky, why did you draw up your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor! Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Something wrong? You even have to ask. God, he's rumbling. Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing! Oh my god. Oh, get your ice cream, kids! Got all kinds of flavors! Like cherry and lemon. It's the Blue Badger. It's the Blue Badger. That's that thing! That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Yeah, it's the police badger. Very well. Witness, will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at that picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were the windows. After that, I must have fainted. The picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark is about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. You think Police Badger exists in that Sonic Arch universe where Sonic is a cop? God. I can't believe there's a stupid Sonic cop. And his name is with a Z. Sonic the Zone Cop. Ugh. Stupid. It's the worst. He'd be the bearer of bad news, but the picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it just like it was yesterday. Police Badger in the same precinct as Sonic the Zone Cop. I still hate that, like, anti-Big is called Smalls, because, like, on one hand, what else are you gonna call him? But also, like, Biggie Smalls, like, shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Release the badger. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster just simply pointing out the contradiction for us. What part of this autopsy? Which part of this? I think this. Yeah, there was a mirror, but there's a mirror for like everyone. I think it's this part here. I don't see what's so strange about that. So the drawing stinks. Wow, rude. Jesus. Yeah, kind of deserved that one. All right. All right. Okay.
Take that!
Contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look close, you can see its tip is broken. Even I don't have to look closer to see that, Mr. Wright. But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off on the victim's body. This conclusive piece of evidence to prove Joe Dark was the murderer. Gotta bootleg fast, yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I still want to see that movie, because I just want to see Sonic floss, because, like, of course he would floss. He's 15 years old. Like, what else is he supposed to do? It's not so simple, Emma.
Objection!
And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah! What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand.
Objection!
Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right, but what does this mean?
Objection!
Honestly, like... Oh, God. I still am really, like, torn with, the, Jim Carrey Eggman. On the one hand, it's kind of brilliant, but also, like, dude hates autistic people, and Sonic is definitely, like, ADHD icon. And considering the two are, like, basically comorbid or practically, like, identical, like, come on. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on. I have to bully people now. Yeah, real. Fuck Jim Carrey. The knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times. She was sure she remembered it correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time. She was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Reggie. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already about a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ah! Order! 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 Are you saying this investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. Like, let's not mince words here. Like, the Man Sonic trio are all differing levels of ADHD or autistic. Cause Knuckles, definitely. Tails, yeah. And Sonic's ADHD. Like, come on. Come on. I trust me, my uncles, dads, cousins, wives, nephews, sisters' pet goldfish worked in Yuji Naka's office when he wrote down everything about Sonic. So I should know. I should know. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neo Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with David Ian. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in the story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been an actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. But the chance of there being 2 broken knives. Another broken knife inside the dark. There again one? If the witnesses to this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright. In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume, then, that you have some information about this other broken knife? If so, please feel enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon.
Take that!
The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding. That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. Order! 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 Neil Marshall was awarded the King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled up his knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife is the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because of the King of Prosecutors Award knife was the murder weapon, the murder and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man risking a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Oh! But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait! I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back? I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. This wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. Oh, shit, hi. What's going on? All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part of way deep inside of me. Thank you. That's because it's a that's a chain one. I have a couple chain donations. Perhaps it would be best we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up, and now the blue badger? Should be interesting. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. It wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw a shadow. This is certainly most unusual.
Objection!
Try impossible? The chief detectives hadn't even designed hide him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Stop! Please, don't pursue this any further! Lana, what's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this! I've already confessed to the crime! How can you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Skye. You've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence! The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. It seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Panic rush for both of them.
Hold it!
His shadow? You mean you didn't actually see this face with its winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns.
Objection!
This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken.
Objection!
That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh, and I suppose you have an explanation. If so, by all means, please tell us what the shadow actually was. What was it Emma saw when lightning flashed? Who was this blue badger really? The blue badger hadn't even been dreamt up when Emma drew this picture, yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright. In this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Show us this mysterious blue badger look-alike.
Take that!
This! The mysterious blue badger was in fact... this! But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this from. Let's see. It is a weird bong. Sometimes life just hands you a weird bong, you know? You gotta accept it for what it is. Right? I've got to look under the badge. Uh-oh. Let me remind the defenses that its case hinges on the witness's drawing. Mr. Wright can match the shape the witness drew. We cannot accept this claim. Gotta find just the right angle. Oh, yeah, there we go, I think. Yeah, like this.
Take that!
There we go. I'm a genius. It'd be like, you know, well, is this a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the blue badger. Why is it a badger? There's not even a badger! No. It can't be. There's nothing like a badger. Order, order! The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witness on the day of the crime was actually this.
Objection!
Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything.
Objection!
I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Very well then. Please tell us. What's so different now that we saw how the witness saw this jar? The murder? Okay. Alright. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant.
Objection!
But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. That witness testified so herself.
Objection!
Yes, and it is these two facts reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Gant's office.
Objection!
Are you implying that the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, you wouldn't have gone through all the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? We finally figured it out. That's why Lana tried to stop the trial. So to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall? Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? Ah, the suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous-looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked in the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the sword of King of Prosecutors trophy. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking... Yes, there is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course, the perpetrator would have no idea, but nevertheless... I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright? What's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall... Wow. Dire! You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? Wow, that's dire. That's so dire. Oh my god. I never imagined your testimony would lead to this. So it was a witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with their own testimony. This is unprecedented. Is she okay? What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances... Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from me. He makes a good point. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone else believe your insane allegations, refrigerate this proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence to prove my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If you don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. You certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has all been wild goose from the beginning. Yeah, thank you, Zeph. Sorry. Touche, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life. In one manner or another. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Can such a message exist? Gotta think back to the court record. real murderer's name with the victim left behind. The message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright! Will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Scott. Our purpose is not to accuse them of any crime. There is only one thing we seek, the truth. No matter how painful it may be. God, if only it was a ghost. That would be sick, actually. Ghost crimes. Impossible to trace. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badge from before, right? Oh, is it going to speak the killer's name? Oh, God. Oh, I thought I pressed the wrong thing. Oh, God. It scared the shit out of me. A message was left here, on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped a little blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason, the blood on some of the fabrics was not wiped away. Yes, there's a line here drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used a few precious moments left in him to leave behind a message. One that would someone apparently wiped away, but blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. No. Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal to us the answer. Alright, that's fine. Now... Exposed! It's a little bit, but they're trying to make it a bit more different. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why I've been saying. That's why I've been thinking about. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message. So this is the final message that Prosecutor Marshall left behind. So that's why she did it. Of all people. She may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. Real. Seaworthy? Can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Gaines. You understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I do believe you were prosecuting the case, were you not? Ah! Yes, were you? Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. Gah!
Objection!
But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. Yeah, but it doesn't, like, get a couple, like, facts straight here, pal. First of all, the fact that you had the evidence in your room to begin with. Oh, I gotta rake this man over the coals until he dies. I'm gonna roast him for all it's worth. The gavel pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle a crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where the trial is headed, no one knows. To be continued. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Man, Gumshoe, you have the actual worst timing. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal. I'm to run all around with all the duty. On top of it, call me here. I've seen half of your people at funerals. Take a lot of time you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give you this to you. They were never breaking today's trial. Manslaughter? She's dead. The chief prosecutor also wanted to give you a message. A message? She said, if you're planning on taking him on, you're gonna need this book. Him. I guess I'll have to give this book a thorough read. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat? Despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility has been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she was unwittingly caused the man's death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? You gotta be kidding me, pal! You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. What? And we're going to expose it, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. And boy, will we. It's time to rake this man over the coals for all it's worth. Say it once and for all. Book Court will now reconvene with the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. The Inquiry Committee has planned to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for your news, Your Honor. Yes, well. Normally this is where the prosecution calls for the witness. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern, Mr. Edgeworth, that you may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witness. I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all for the witnesses. What? There's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may call forward the next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is over. The defense calls... It's finally ready to confront the real murderer.
Take that!
Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? As a defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should have to hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. Alright. Bailiff! Whack his pee-pee! Please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. God, I hate that I still find that funny. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? Those are my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief. The court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh? Like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure. Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. God, hopefully soon. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. It won't be a waste of time when I rake you over the coals, you stupid bastard. Very well. The witness may begin his testimony. God, I would love a Phoenix Wright versus Judge Judy crossover. That'd be sick. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, he slipped up. The power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, it had nothing to do with that forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seemed Dark bumped his head. That is as inconsistent as hell. I see, everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. Oh ho? Then what do you gotta say about this, smart guy? You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this list, for example. That's the list Emma Sky drew a picture of. This was discovered in your desk. Not only that, but a piece of this jar that was sitting in your office was found inside your safe. Was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Huh. Here's a defense attorney you might even rival Worthy. So you admit it then, that you were involved in the forgery? Who, me? What do you mean, you? Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence. Defense attorneys can also do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? Yeah, it really just doesn't know you. However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy, not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Gumshoe sallied off any further, you'll end up paying to work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. I'm gonna roast this fool. Like a fucking big-ass potato. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, I could have planned them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after the Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Figures in the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You understand that I'm chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Ugh. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so I won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief. Would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know, right, Oji. In return, though, I know. That place, right? Huh? What are these guys, telepathic? He's talking about Phoenix and Edgeworth, specifically.
Hold it!
Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you read from all of this. Oh? I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would of course be the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh. The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is a sufficient motive. Oh! Oh! That is a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even with that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 was expected inevitable. Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Gah! Be careful when pointing that finger. You might not be the one being pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's on the open now. Would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. Meet anyone to compliment everything for me.
Hold it!
Nothing in it for you? Sorry, the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. He does look like a Gear character. He looks like Slayer! Beat tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be laxing that on yourself, though. Huh! Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? True, you might not help out anyone for their sake. But if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. That's not what I mean. Very well then. Who's this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? Who else?
Take that!
Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye, the defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the Prosecutor's Office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all this? He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. Do you mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh, wait. You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her the Chief Prosecutor so you could control her. Right, oh my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, does Lana testify I've done such a thing? Lana. Just keep quiet, There's no way to testify against Grant. Gant, God. I keep saying Gant is Grant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The Chief Prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gann is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? Order! I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest-ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the Chief of Police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible! Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgewood said. Easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. God, this court really is just two gay idiots passing the buck to each other back and forth. God. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That Chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder? Good question. Regardless of its rank or title, Chief Gann is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. You see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got. And it better be good. Show us this evidence that ties Chief Gann to murder of Detective Goodman. Yeah! It's the ID card. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7777777. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card. It's your number. What? How do you know that? The safe in Chief Gann's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean... I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room the day of the crime. Oh, he hates it! Look at him hating it! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Oh, he hates it! Look how much he hates it! Nothing. The defense is searching my office in violation of the regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, do you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police. There's the evidence room and the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone. Nothing to do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have had to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days? Chief Gant, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? Trial's purpose to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. Trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? For the amendment or whatever it is in the Phoenix Land. Yeah, real. It's like weird New York, basically. No, weird San Francisco, I mean. In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm gonna ask you for evidence. Show us with the victim to meet Chief Gann on the day of the crime. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. You would have to give that report to the Chief of Police. You are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh. Detective Goodman took to inform you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and the detective of Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait! The chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your car was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body! Oh! Electrocution! Boy getting shocked! Chief Gant, you did it! The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? Supposing Detective Goodman's body. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? Out of the police department the entire day, and everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the serve. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, if you're the chief of police, you have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body in the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. Now that you have moved the body. Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body. A parking stub? Miles Edgeworth. You mean... the body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. You mean I carried the victim's body? Precisely so. But wait! Even you know. I didn't plan on returning to my office after the ceremony finished that day. But you did return. Tell me, why? Ah! I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. He told me you wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. So you see, what you were really taking to the prosecutor's office wasn't the screwdriver, but the victim's body in your trunk! Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes, unless, of course, you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. Order! 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 What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal of the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Stark took at the prosecutor's office. It was not a photo of a body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It was a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something! I believe... your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early inspection. Chicken. But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? The police chief has all kinds of weapons at disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away? Don't make me laugh, Wood. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, you think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant's the current chief of police. Yeah, and he's a pig! He's a pig! Sweet! Who cares? I can go down to the local farm and see a bunch. I don't care. So what, he's top pig, old snowball ass over here. Who cares? Old major looking ass boy. This court will not tolerate any accusation against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright? Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gett murdered Detective Goodman and laid in the sky to dispose of his body? Do I have any concrete proof? It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. See ya, G? Stupid fuck. Like, honestly, like, he's gonna get roasted. Like, we're gonna make bacon before the day is through. It's only a matter of when, not if. In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegation against the Chief. What? Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, right? It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, I'll leave the rest to you. Ugh. Stupid, smug bastard. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. And... Wah!
Objection!
Lady Luck. We should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness. Yeah, real. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gett has invoked his right to refuse to testify. But there's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? I'm going to be willing to tell the truth. We can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth... They have near ages. Yeah, they're about 2 ages. They're about 2 years apart. Yeah, they're gay. Lesbian. Defendant, Miss Lana Sky. She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body, in accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in Hold on! Huh? Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking wrong. I don't think we need to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. Ah! This isn't good. Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to meet. God, what a fucking scumbag. I'm gonna enjoy crushing him to pieces. Okay, if there are any other further objections, this court is now in recess. God, what a scumbag. February 25th, 2:04 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief. He's something else, eh, pals? That's the gumshoe. Hahaha, I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Nah, don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top knot girl used to work with. You mean... Maya? Still, looks like we're all at our moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How did he always get the upper hand? It's not fair he has a right to refuse to testify. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said? But Chief, that is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Why don't you look at this book before we continue? Ah! Okay. Risk, what do you mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything, too? Hey, it's Emma! Hi, Emma! Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the whole trial from the gallery, so she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me. After her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gan's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. Forced her to do anything and everything the Chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall in that armor. I see. We better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait? No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. Time to cook a piggy! Sweet! Yeah. Time to fry, bacon bits! They're real. We really do live in a society. Now then. Will the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, please take the stand? Miss Lana Skye, you were the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You'll know that I've done the past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Skye. And remember, you are under oath. You want to hear the truth. Of course. The truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant. Everything is in your testimony. The only chance we have to beat Gant. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. You're so full of beans, girl. It's unreal. Are you sure about this testimony? Your Honor, I'm confessing the capital offense. Of course I'm sure. But Lana... If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. But she's telling the truth. She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. It's like against years, there's no truth to the blackmail theory.
Hold it!
You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor award bag was stuck on the victim's body. What? If that's true, Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. It's only a situation in dreaming was possible. The reality is, it isn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change with this statement. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? I'm trying to say Drake and Dark at the same time. I hate this. Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away from the circle. It's not out like that. I'm just trying to cover her lies with more lies. Was to protect me. Hello! Welcome to the stream. So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's wound? Then you move the body? Why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. Head isn't that bad. Maybe I ought to ask for something else. When you showed up at the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it was, at Chief Gant's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. Using this guy to move the body. He's in charge of having the events start my plan. Oh, you mean this jar? You mean this jar?
Objection!
Miss Sky, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where the Neil William Marshall was murdered? If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I'm compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. Contradiction? In my testimony? You testify, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. What's the problem with that? It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood. Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not have been broken before he died. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. Order! Order! Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information and arrive at the truth. Very well. The witness now continue her testimony. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood? I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well. The defense may now begin its examination. God, I'm really bad at talking today.
Objection!
Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. What? We found the final piece of the jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified. She gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. But couldn't the defendant simply have missed a piece? I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even once, I wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Ha! Can you believe that?
Objection!
Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that. There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. Clicking and implying the person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Oh, God, what are you saying? There first, why break the jar? Question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? Ah! No! What? I'm not the one on trial here. Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposely hid one of the broken pieces. Question. What is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. Why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma. And therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the Chief's puppet. No, I did it on my own. Damn, that was a big blood gush. Jesus Christ. Are you okay, sister? Damn. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the Chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client. You do seem the type who likes to twist the truth. Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? Something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana, maybe right after all. What do you mean, Wright? So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? Miss Skye, please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie. But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. Miss Skye, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth. Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw. Alright, the witness now testify once more for the final time. I doubt it'll be for the final time. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Unbelievable. The body was impaled in the armor sword? You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof. Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. What? To me? It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright? She really does have faith in you. Well, Mr. Wright, please present this picture. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? I don't remember getting something from her then. Check that evidence again. Must be a picture in there somewhere. Whoa! That's messed up, bro. Hey, there's a picture here. That's brutal, dude. Jesus. Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. One of the detectives saw the crime scene like this because I contacted him with the affairs only after I rearranged everything. Mr. Wright, that piece cut out from his vest. Could that be the cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe? No, I think it's like a little bird or something. Maybe a chicken, I don't know. What's this? It's a handprint, isn't it? That cloth. It had fingerprints on it. Whoever fingerprints there were, must be the real murderer. What? But those fingerprints... They're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. Whoa. I don't get to cross-examine. Because old Dillhole's back. Come now, Leggy. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gant. What, now you want to make me out to be the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your known neck. Urgh. Yeah. So what? You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't, but someone else does. Someone? So, what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death? Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt? Is this true, Mr. Wright? What new word? Board crimes. Oh my god. So right, if you have any more evidence, please send it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you'll be the one paying for the Board of Inquiries. And now, you better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Nah. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? Lie, Chief Gant. You opened my safe. You knew. I know you took what was inside. Conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like a part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean like you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up with murder. I'll tell you what really happened. What, you mean you admit to it? No, he's gonna get roasted. I was the first person around the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I should use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her! I knew it made her look like the blame with her sister. And when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Sky. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When I turned to the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene. 2 pieces of evidence? You mean the items in your safe? But why? For the insurance. Of course. Insurance. I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for murdering that girl. You mean you were calculating this that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make the least shift by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hit the most legible part of his name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, let's say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar, too. Ho ho. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto. Cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit it. I don't want to have to do that, being chief and all. But it's a lot better than you being portrayed as a murderer. I hope he does. I really hope he does, because fuck this dude. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you say you didn't have any evidence for 2%. Foolish move, Righto. You should have known then, but before it's too late. It's been a long time. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh yes! At last you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that it be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. It must have been a strong impact for it to less so clearly. You mean, it could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Righto had all the time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on there? Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are there? Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as pretty. The person whose fingerprints these belong to is... this baby! Emma Skye? What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why didn't you tell me? Ho! You're really something, Righto. You this girl did it all along, and you still try to pin the murder on me. So it's true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you? You monster! Miss Skye, you knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Miss Skye, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. Ha! I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career, too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy! What's the matter, Cat got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh? And what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Skye, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, a piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. And what exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Skye took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes. His shirt is showing just underneath. It's hard to make out with all this blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs no doubt were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth. Wait. There's no blood on it! Ah! Since Emma Skye's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at the time. No! This is nonsense! Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Lana Skye? picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him with armor's sword. Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. The jar that they broke on purpose to leave behind a clue and make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest? Ironic, isn't it? With the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. No! It's finally all over. Objection! Oh! That was close, Rhino. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegations? You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. Jolteon-ass pig, real. Order! Order! What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember Udgy? Earlier, old Rhino here concealed that piece of cloth. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair! Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son! Oh, is it? You porcine prick. I believe you know. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright? It seems at last the time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposely and illegally concealed a piece of cloth? I did not. I admit, I refuse to present it at one point. Aha! So the evidence is illegal!
Objection!
No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved in presenting evidence. No, Udgy! Don't listen to his lies! He's nothing but a coward! You can't really believe...
Objection!
There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well. Let us settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. Oh, I will! Gladly!
Take that!
This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule 2. Unreserved evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And, here's the crux of the matter. You see, at that time it was impossible to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and...
Objection!
Sorry, but can you recall when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. No! He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave value and as evidence was you, Damon Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. The day of the crime, you personally cut this piece out of the victim's vest? Oh, yes. No! It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before the prosecutor marshal in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer, and there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant! The killer was you! Fry, you poor-seed bastard. I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum! For 2 years he's been snooping around the department, trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, and he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. The evidence is transferred to lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you gotta help me. No, he's just a pig. He's a pig snake, it's fine. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID code and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lawsuit item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden, he decided to speak out. Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? You can't transfer evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking all the evidence out, he said, "It's not too late. Gotta hand all those stuff to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it. The accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who it might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much I lay on the floor I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker. It used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. When you put the body in my car, I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make it a lot more than us detectives ever will. Leaving the prosecution's car aside. How? How could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. She took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So, we left the jar fragments in the glove. Yeah, it looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. Gotta hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down when you try to go it alone. Well, looks like it's time for me to say goodbye. Oh, Ajay, what? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you used to be me. I knew you as you used to be, long ago. You were once a fine investigator, an example to others on the force. He's a pig! I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Ajay. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. I have Wright here, and Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning. Just rot already. Scumbag. There are two things I want you to understand. Yes? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. and that all that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gan help me forge evidence up until today. Nah, you still a pig. So, it seems all the questions raised in the trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My. What high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows? A few years from now, you might just make it to the top. I'll give my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it. I only did my job. Like, it's not really her fault. She was desperate, I guess. In light of this case, it seems good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky, yes, Your Honor, you're innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for this crime at a later date. Yes, I understand. Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Sky, not guilty. That is all. This court is adjourned. At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended. You know, I did my best too, but I didn't say a single word to me. Hope I don't interrupt anything. God. You have a really bad sense of timing, Gumshoe. Oh. Guess I am. I'll come back later. Stop doing that! Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making that to run all around while on duty. Stop it off and call me here. I've seen happy people at funerals. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh. You're because of my sister again? Nope. Not this time. I came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Dick Gumshoe. No! No! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Lana. You should be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you don't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day, 2 years ago, was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I can do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake. But now, I realize I was wrong. You changed after that day. I had to. I only could make it through those past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself. But I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared you look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you're only doing it for me. No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. And hiding what I believed to be the truth. I was deceiving you. Sis. I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Good. They're both gay. Lesbians. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is try to make up for our mistakes. Why else we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in no doing, we can find our way back to the rightful path. It is from there we can move on to a brighter future. At least that's what I felt, watching those two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe. Me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right? Edgeworth. Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. Where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right, well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. You were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth. Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. You despise criminals, I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. He is really wide. He's uncomfortably wide. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said, in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright. Because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright? Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz? Come, Mr. Wright, show him what Lana's talking about. Evidence, huh?
Take that!
That's the picture I drew. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list, and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember. Don't let what happened kill the prosecutor in you. You can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. Seems I owe you my thanks, too, right? Gay ass! Look at him! Look at him! One whole home of sexual. Anyway, what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell. I better be going too. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. I'm back to visit soon. There we go. There's a lot to catching up, a lot to learn, a lot of catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation. It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will. And so, another case came to a close. As for sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is this, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved by the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks in the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, you had to bribe a guard and sneak around for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild... I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright is the one who foot the bill. Huh? Huh? What, you think I can afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Huh? 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 Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Why is it... I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go to pay it off together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go.
Objection!
Oh, Christ. Anyway. That's it for this game. I'm gonna dip for tonight, and I'll be back with Mario and Luigi tomorrow, the first day of July. Hooray! Don't say that! Oh my god! I'm gonna leave. Bye! Jesus.